Hello, lovely people. Looks like I am streaming. I'm so grateful to be here with you today. God and Goddess, thank you so much for all of the blessings that you give us. Thank you for the cycles and the seasons of Earth and the lessons that they can teach us if we are paying attention. Please help us to be loving and kind and climb the golden ladder of ascent, helping others along the way. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today on the Nazarene calendar, it is Family Day, and the prayer is Our God and Goddess, infinite and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To my family and friends, send your angel of love. Great day for connecting with your family and remembering that our family and friends are not just those that we choose or that we have blood with, but the people that we're in contact with every day and our coworkers, all of those things. It's a great time to figure out ways that we can be more peaceful and present and loving in those conversations or relationships and conversations too. So today we're going to continue with the Nazarene book of Genesis from the Holy Megillah Nasarean Bible, the Essene Way, translated by Dave Greenleaf and available at essene.org. We are at chapter 7, Abraham and Sarah, the creation of our world. Behold, the stars of the heavens. Hidden within each star is a temple of light. For the body of fire of each star is but the outer veil which we of this world can see. But we cannot see the hidden realm within the star, wherein is the temple, just as no man can see the realm of spirits with earthly eyes. And that is because neither the temple of light nor the realm of spirits are earthly. Think not that the temple of light is hot, or that the cherubim live in fire. Rather, understand that they live in another realm within the star, which fire cannot touch. And lo, the beauty of the temple of light is such that no man can imagine. And the beings that live there are beautiful, kind, wise, and helpful. Behold, the temple of light within each star is inhabited by cherubim, angelic beings of light. And the prince of the cherubim of each star is an Abram, for he is the high priest of the temple of light and plants the seeds of life on new worlds in his dominion. But only Jade and Janah create living souls. And the princess of the cherubim of each star is a Sarah, for she is the high priestess of the temple of light and plants the seeds of life on new worlds in her dominion. The little note that I have here, just as a side note, the Mormons actually talk about this belief of exaltation and becoming one, essentially being a co-creator with God. And for me, that little tidbit of information fits in here because it's this idea that the Abram and Sarah are graduated souls that then get this blessing of being able to plant that tree of life. So back to the text. And the worlds that circle a star are in the dominion of that star, and each star is in the dominion of an overseeing star, which is a star that oversees many stars and many worlds. Yea, and each overseeing star is itself in the dominion of an even greater overseeing star. And all stars are in the dominion of the great central sun, which is the temple of Elohim. And every Abram and every Sarah are overseers of a dominion. And every overseer answers to the authority of the overseers that have greater dominion. And the authority over all the overseers is Elohim. Lo, the number of stars and overseers is infinite. Yea, the number is too great to count. Wherefore does Elohim depend upon overseers to assist in the great work of Yahweh. Behold, when a star goes to seed at the end of its cycle, the Abram and Sarah of that star, if they have performed their work well, shall ascend to a greater world or star. Lo, they have done well if many of the children of the worlds they oversee have progressed in the love and wisdom of Jaja and have thereby ascended to higher heavenly realms. Yea, the stars and worlds are countless. The living beings are countless. The eternity of eternities is unfathomable. The world we live on is but one of countless worlds, some higher in spiritual perfection, some lower. Lo, the story of the creation of our world follows. Each living world is under the dominion of a temple star, and the prince of the cherubim of each star is an Abram. Lo, the name of the Abram of our son is Abraham, which means father of a multitude. Thus, he is called Abraham the Abram. And the princess of the cherubim of each star is a Sarah. And the name of the Sarah of our son is Saara, which means whirlwind. Thus, she is called Saara the Sarah. Behold, Abraham and Sarah were sweet souls whom had previously pierced the mother ovum and enjoyed a blessed day of play with Jaja in heaven most high. Now they have returned to the mother ovum to serve as hands of mercy under Lord Christ Jade and Lady Christ Jana. And Jade and Jana gave to Abraham and Sarah a great work, the planting of a new star seed and the seeds of its heavens and planets and creatures. And though Abraham and Sarah would plant and nurture the seeds, lo, only Jade and Jana were to create such seeds. For behold, those of the Luciferian rebellion had begun violating this and other precepts and had thereby spread much evil and pain in many worlds. Yea, Lucifer, under the inspiration of Satan, had begun creating his own seeds, not of stars or worlds, for he had not that power, but of evil life forms that he seated as weeds upon many worlds. But Abraham and Sarah were righteous and violated not the precepts of our Lord and Lady. Lo, they joyfully and willingly followed the instructions of King Jade and Queen Jana and planted only the seed given to them. Yea, Abraham and Sarah, disciples of the Lord Christ and Lady Christ, were made overseers of the new son we call our son, and they were given good seed to plant. When Abraham and Sarah came to this realm to assist the great work of Elohim, the realm was Bohu, a void, and they chanted the great invocation of Elohim, which is, let there be light. And they planted the star seed, which is the seed of our son. As they watched the seed grow, they said, it now emanates spiritual light into this darkness. It is good seed. And the birth of the spiritual light was during the first great day of the creation of our world. Then Abraham said to Sarah, now let the spiritual light form a body of light, which will be our temple. Sarah said, yes, I will plant the seed of air. It shall be the breath of life for the body of light. And she planted the seed of air, and the spiritual light emanated a body of fire. Abraham and Sarah said, it is good seed. And that was the second great day of the creation of our world. Then Abraham and Sarah cast into the body of fire the seed of water, so that vapor would come forth from the fire to become clouds. For they knew that they would make worlds that would need water. And vapors came forth and formed primal clouds. They said, it is good seed. And that was the third great day of the creation of our world. And as the sun burned, it whirled through air and winds swirled. And into the wind, Abraham and Sarah cast the seed of soil. And the wind began to form the small particles of soil into larger particles. Abraham and Sarah said, this is good seed. And that was the fourth great day of the creation of our world. By the end of the fourth great day, some of the particles had combined to form large spheres. Abraham and Sarah chose the largest spheres to be the planets for this realm, and they chose one sphere to be the planet that would host the first heaven of this realm. Behold, that sphere was our world. Lo, Abraham and Sarah cast the seed of heavenly formation round our world. Then they cast the same kind of seed into 5 other places between our world and the sun, so that this realm would have 7 heavens. Yea, and the spiral stairway winds its way upward from the first heaven through each heaven unto the 7th heaven, which is the temple of light hidden in the sun. And behold, the seeds of heavenly formation sprouted and began to form the heavens. And the heavens were beautiful, but no one can see a heaven except for those who live in that heaven or a higher realm, higher heaven. Abraham and Sarah said, "It is good seed." And the formation of the heavens continued for great duration. For lo, each great day is of great duration, being a cycle of creation, unlike the short days of our world. And that was the 5th great day of the creation of our world. Then Abraham and Sarah opened the soul pathways of the 12 constellations so that the souls of many living entities could pass into this realm to have birth on our world. Behold, each species of plant and animal, even humankind, is within a group ovum, and each soul becomes a member of the group ovum that most matches its own thoughts, words, and deeds. And each soul is also within its own individual ovum. Lo, from each group ovum, Abraham and Sarah chose 2 souls to be the first of each species to awaken upon our world. And they gathered these souls and placed them in bodies, but made them sleep until the tree of life was planted in the garden. Then Abraham and Sarah placed the sleeping bodies in the area that would be the Garden of Eden, which would be the birth garden. And the garden was in the center of the most fertile part of the world, which was the land of Cush. Yea, Abraham and Sarah named this land Cush because in the tongue of the cherubim, that word means hidden power, which is the power of Elohim. For Elohim wields power not with swords and spears. Behold, Elohim wages spiritual warfare with spiritual weapons. And though it may appear that Elohim is defeated in a battle, good always triumphs over evil in the end. And that is the mystery of the hidden power, which is Cush. Yea, the center of Cush would be this Garden of Eden, the birth garden, once the seed of the tree of life was planted. And in the center of the garden was a holy mountain. Lo, atop that holy mountain, Abraham and Sarah would plant the holy tree of life, and only then would the dormant bodies awaken. Lo, the time from the opening of the soul pathways of the 12 constellations to the time of the gathering of the dormant bodies was the 6th great day of the creation of our world. Abraham said to Sarah, "Before we plant the seed of the holy tree of life, let us spend the 7th day in prayer and communion with Elohim and Jaja, our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent. Yea, and then on the evening of the 7th day, after the sun is set, we will plant the holy seed. Then will all the dormant things spring to life, and this area will become a garden of delight." Thus, the 7th day of the creation of our world was a day of prayer and communion, which is Shabbat Shalom. Behold, during their time of communion with Elohim and Jaja, Abraham and Sarah were shown many visions of what would come. And Elohim whispered in their hearts and minds the things that they must do. for the agents of Satan were coming to do them violence. For lo, Satan wanted this new world for his own purposes, and had sent his servant Lucifer to prevent the planting of the tree of life, and to plant instead another seed. On the evening of the seventh day, having held Shabbat, Abraham and Sarah made ready to plant the holy seed of the tree of life in the center of the Garden of Eden. Abraham held the holy seed in his bag of seed, and Sarah held fertile soil in her bowl of germination. Abraham, high priest of the temple of light, which temple is within the sun, raised up his staff and recited the words of prayer and invocation for the planting of the holy seed. And Sarah, high priestess of the temple of light, which temple is within the sun, raised up her bowl and recited the words of prayer and invocation. Then Abraham planted the seed of the tree of life in Sarah's bowl. But behold, before Sarah had germinated the seed in her bowl, yea, before she had opened her bag of water and moved the seed from her bowl to the garden, where it would grow tall, the agents of Satan attacked. All right. I'm actually not able to see any chats on this side. I'm actually going to just keep reading. Let's read chapter 8 as well, because this is exciting, and I'll have to stop myself from reading chapter 9 because that's when Adam and Eve come. Chapter 8, Lucifer attacks the Garden of Eden. Yea, as had been revealed to Abraham and Sarah during Shabbat, Lucifer, the servant of Satan, attacked the garden with his soldiers, fallen angels of the Luciferian rebellion. And these soldiers are called seraphim, for they spit fire from their serpent staffs. The Hebrew word seraph means fiery, poisonous, flying serpent. Lo, Luciferian skyships dropped gourds of poisoned water and poisoned fire over the area of the garden. For Satan had ordered Lucifer to prevent the planting of the tree of life on this world. But before the gourds of poisoned water and fire landed on the garden, Abraham and Sarah protected the holy seed, for they had been warned in a vision that this attack would occur. Yea, Abraham and Sarah put the holy seed between their bodies and entwined themselves round it. Then they each shed a tear of compassion for all the souls of this world who would be deceived by the Luciferians. Behold, their tears did water the holy seed, and it germinated as they buried their feet in the soil in the center of the garden. Lo, in a flash of light, the tree of life was fully grown. Its 7 roots were firmly rooted in the center of the garden. Its 7 branches reached up into the heavens. Behold, Abraham and Sarah were within the tree, and through the center of the tree, they passed into the center of the sun, which is the temple of light. For lo, the center of the tree is the center of the all, and all centers are connected thereat. But Abraham and Sarah were not alone. For when they entwined in the garden and wept the tears of compassion that watered the seed of the tree of life, behold, one of Abraham's tears entered the womb of Sarah, and she was now pregnant with child. Now, at the very same moment that the tree of life had sprung up in the center of the garden, the entire garden sprang to life. Yea, all the dormant bodies and sleeping souls of the various species of plant and animal life were awakened. And when the gourds dropped by the Luciferian skyships hit the tree of life, lo, they did not harm the tree. For once a tree of life has been planted, it cannot be harmed. And the tree of life changed the poisoned water and poisoned fire of the gourds into good water and good fire. Behold, the Luciferians were dismayed that they had not prevented the planting of the tree of life on this world, but they had a second plan. Though they could not destroy the tree of life, they could plant their own seed and try to deceive the creatures of this world to eat from their tree instead of the tree of life. Thus it was that outside of Cush, near its border, the Luciferians planted their own tree, the tree of evil disguised as good, called Balal, which means confuse. Lucifer said to his soldiers, "Behold, I will plant my own seeds beside their garden, near their tree. I will plant my tree, and I will appear to Adam and Eve and tell them that I am their God, and I will command them to obey my angels and me. Lo, I will forbid them to eat of the fruit of the tree of life, and will command that they only eat from the tree that I plant." And the tree of evil disguised as good was not only evil, rather, it was a cunning mixture of good and evil, of truth mingled with falsehood. For Lucifer knew that the young souls he wished to ensnare would not knowingly choose the dark path. Yea, darkness must be mixed with enough light to make it palatable. Neither would these young souls knowingly worship Lucifer and Satan rather than Jaja and Elohim. Therefore, Lucifer would pretend that he was God. He would call himself Yahweh and tell them that he was their creator. He would establish the priesthood of the serpent on this world, which is the satanic priesthood of the dark path. Lucifer communed with his master Satan, and behold, the voice of the serpent spoke within Lucifer, saying, "Let my priests mix good with evil, for it is in robes of good that I shall dress my seeds. And only one thing is truly needful to enslave mankind. He must be made to eat the flesh of animals. For then we can enter his body and enjoy his senses. Yea, and we can whisper in his head, and he will believe that our words are his own thoughts. No matter if his scriptures declare, 'Love one another,' as long as he eats flesh, he will be unable to follow those words. And yet, because we mix those good words into his scriptures, our religion of blood sacrifice is made more palatable to the young souls we wish to ensnare." Satan continued to speak in the head of Lucifer, saying, "Adam and Eve must not eat from the tree of life, else they will know eternal life and will be out of our dominion. For should they eat only of the tree of life, their bodies will become perfected light, and they will ascend the golden ladder and will not die. Lo, if their bodies do not die and decay, they shall not fear death. And if they do not fear death, they will not worship me. Yea, and if they fear not death, they will not accept the three bodies of Satan. Behold, the three bodies of Satan are of three dispensations. First is the body of fallen flesh of satanic seed. Second is the body of metals mated with flesh. Third is the body of enslaved light. And the first body of Satan prepares mankind to accept the second body. And the second body of Satan prepares mankind to accept the third body. And the dispensation of each body is of long duration, and Satan tends his garden." Wow. Really, really great stuff there. Let me try to get my stream notes on this platform. If not, I'll turn the camera around and join you on the other side of this camera. Cool. Okay, it showed up. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going? David D says each star has a hidden realm within it. Definitely, it's really cool to read that and then think of how, I mean, even in the creation story, it talks about how all of these different shapes were involved inside of the mother ovum and falling into the sea. That it was like a house of a mansion houses within houses, all these rooms within rooms within rooms. Definitely cool, and kind of contradicts a little bit the usual flat earth model that all of us are used to. But again, remember that all of this is taking place within the mother ovum. And even when we're talking about planets or worlds, we still understand that there's, the firmament and this enclosed realm system where we're actually, on the stationary ground. It's not a giant spinning ball that's whirling throughout infinite space. David D says, Satan has the power to bring weeds into our world. This is where the order of the parasites is full of dark souls that seek not to rise up the golden ladder. Exactly, yeah. And even in the mainstream Bible, we hear of the wheat and the tares, and these essentially these children of the evil ones. And if you remember from the Holy Megillah, the story of Noah, the on the island of Atalia, the false Yahweh and his minions were literally mating seraphim with the sons of man, and these babies were grown in tubes, like, or in gourds or whatever, like Cain, unnaturally, because no womb could bear how big they were. So yeah, and actually on the same note about the seraphim, um, I am watching this show called, I think it's called Humans or something, and they are showing different robots and stuff that you can get, and then they introduce conscious ones, and they're actually talking about seraphim in this show. So I've been jotting down the little references so that I can pull the clips to show you. But I would love to dive into even the Brotherhood of the Serpent, because it traces back all the way to the very beginning. And there's mainstream knowledge about them and how they infiltrate and corrupt all the different religious groups and all of that stuff. So that is on in the pipelines for coming down the pipeline. So David E says, I wonder what the original Hebrew scripture reads. My guess is planet could be translated into world. Exactly. I agree with that. Fallen flesh and the satanic seed is the inverted. Second seed is human mated with machines. The Neuralink transhuman agenda completed. Yeah, and also I keep thinking of peacemakers, right? And all of these rods and different metal parts that get introduced into people's bodies because of the medical industry. They're like Frankenstein's monster. They're like, let's cut this up and put it here. Let's chop this up and put it here. Let's, cut out your leg artery and try to fix your heart because you won't stop eating bacon. It's crazy. The final stage is souls trapped in machine, in enslaved light, seraphim machines. Absolutely. And we'll get into a little bit more detail about that in a future stream as well. More information being revealed to me about how they actually can essentially trap a soul and the different technology behind that. So I'll make some graphics and share that with you as soon as the picture becomes clear. Little bits of information come at different times, and it's kind of like a puzzle to figure out the truth of our reality. So I am going to jump off of here and go enjoy my family day, reach out to some family because I need to figure out what I'm going to get my niece and nephew for Christmas. But yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and God bless you.